The British Columbia Institute of Technology acknowledges that our campuses are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh.
Hello, my name is Lisa Cofton and it's your news update to 2 p.m. September 30th marked the third traditional holiday for truth and reconciliation. Our reporter Zach Robko explains how the holiday is a reminder of continual effort to reconcile with our indigenous population.
Orange Shirt Day presents an opportunity to discuss Indigenous history and mend the relationship between Indigenous and non-Indigenous people. During Semiyamu's annual Walk for Truth and Reconciliation, Chief Harley Chappell equates reconciliation to a marriage. He says as relationships are rebuilt, celebrations of culture and the difficult historical discussions will lead to a stronger community relationship for everyone residing on the land. Chappell hopes these events can bring neighbors, guests, and governments to discuss reconciliation year-round. Zach Robko, BCIT's The Crow.
October 1st to 7th is HPV Prevention Week in Canada. According to BC Cancer, 3 out of every 4 sexually active Canadians will have at least one HPV infection in their lifetime, making it one of the most commonly sexually transmitted infections in the country. As our reporter Isabella Calisi explains, despite the common spread, this is a very preventative disease.
According to the Government of Canada, there are more than 100 different types of HPV. While some give genital warts, others can cause cancers. One of the most common amongst them is cervical cancer. The Canadian Partnership Against Cancer says that cervical cancer is almost entirely preventable through early-on vaccinations and use of protection during sex. Cervical cancer itself is also highly curable after it's found, through regular care and treatment. HPV vaccinations have been in school-based immunization programs since 2017. Vaccinations are given to children most commonly in grades 6 or 7. Immunization against HPV is recommended for all individuals between the ages of 9 and 26. Isabella Calisi, BCIT's The Crow.
A conflict in Vancouver Public Library between protesters led into youth being arrested. Vancouver police stated today that groups of protesters had opposite views about the war between Israel, Hamas, and Hezbollah. A 34-year-old woman was knocked down and subjected to anti-Semitic disgrace, according to the police. The woman required treatment in hospital. Police added that the suspect, described as youth, disappeared in the crowd but was arrested later. Police has released the suspect and continues the investigation of an incident as a hate crime. An update on Middle East tensions. A spokesman for Israel's military says they are in the clear for now after Iran launched missile strikes into Israel. The missile strikes are in retaliation for the killing of Hezbollah and Hamas leaders. ABC's Matt Gutman has the latest from Tel Aviv.
Typically what has been happening in the previous attacks, like the one against Nasrallah, the head of Hezbollah in Lebanon last week, the IDF presents a series of options to the government. The cabinet sits over it, and then they decide what to do. That's what also happened with last night's incursion into Lebanon. So the plans are on the table. The question is, how far does the Israeli government want to take this?
Foreign Affairs Minister Melanie Joly is telling Canadians still in Lebanon it's time to leave the country now, as Israel's ground incursion intensifies fears of a full-scale invasion. The Israeli ground operation started early this morning and airstrikes have destroyed an apartment building in Beirut. Joly says Ottawa was able to get 200 Canadians out over the weekend, and as her 200 are leaving on a flight today from Beirut to Istanbul. The House of Commons will hold an emergency debate this evening on the crisis in Lebanon. About the weather today, it's going to rain afternoon. The temperature feels like 11 degrees. The wind speed is 9 kilometers per hour. Hopefully we will see some more sun this week. That was your news update to 2 p.m. My name is Lisa Cofton.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
Everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikakane.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretnero.
And I'm Radhika Sikakane. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.
Good afternoon, I'm Ethan Van Dopp, and here are your sports headlines to 2:10. Today marks the first day of the Major League Baseball playoffs, with 4 games on the schedule. The Detroit Lions currently lead the Houston Astros 3-0 in the top of the ninth. Matt Verling scored a single to put the Tigers up 3-0.
2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 on. And another base hit up the middle. Bierling with a single. Scoring as Roger Sweeney stops at second. And it is 3-0 Tigers.
The Kansas City Royals are in Baltimore taking on the Orioles. The game is currently tied 0-0 at the top of the 5th inning. The New York Mets and the Milwaukee Brewers will battle it out in Milwaukee as they begin their best-of-3 series. The Brewers defeated the Mets 5-1 in the season series. The Atlanta Braves will be squaring off against the San Diego Padres for the nightcap. The Padres won the season series against the Braves 4-3. Major League Baseball great Pete Rose has died at the age of 83. Rose, a longtime Cincinnati Red, holds the record for the most hits in MLB history. Much of Rose's 24-year career was spent with the Reds. However, he was a key member of a Philadelphia Phillies team that won the World Series in 1980. Phillies fans reacted to the hearing of the news of his passing.
When I heard about Pete Rose, I thought the greatest hitter that ever played the game had passed away.
The Vancouver Canucks have made a series of roster cuts ahead of the team's final preseason game. The team reassigned 9 players to the AHL, including forward Jonathan Lekkerimäki and defenseman Elias Pettersson. Additionally, the team placed 4 players on waivers for their purpose of assignment to the AHL, including forward Phil DiGiuseppe and defenseman Kristen Wolanin. The Canucks begin their regular season on October 9th against the Calgary Flames. The Abbotsford Canucks are set to open their training camp on October 2nd. Training camp will go until October 5th and will feature a full team scrimmage. At the conclusion of training camp, fans will have the opportunity to meet with the Abbotsford Canucks players. Canadiens rookie David Reinbacher will miss the next 5 to 6 months following surgery to his left knee, the team announced on X. The 5th overall pick in 2023 suffered a knee injury in a preseason game against the Toronto Maple Leafs on Sunday. The Canadiens have been dealing with a plethora of injuries this season, as newly acquired forward Patrick Laine also went down with an injury during Sunday's game. PWHL training camp for all 6 teams will take place in Toronto and Montreal. Rosters for all 6 teams will be announced on October 10th. The Montreal Victory, Boston Fleet, and Ottawa Charge training camp will take place at Verdun Auditorium in Montreal, while the Toronto Scepters, Minnesota Frost, and New York Sirens training camp will take place at Toronto's Ford Performance Center. Training camp will begin November 12th. Now to soccer. The Vancouver Whitecaps girls Elite welcome San Diego FC to BC Place as they kick off their CONCACAF Champions Cup campaign today. Kickoff is at 6:30. Whitecaps midfielder Josie Longhurst says the team looks forward to the match.
Everyone's buzzing. I think it's a huge opportunity for everyone on the team and to be at home, especially for this game, and show like what BC is about and things like that. So yeah, I think everyone's really excited.
In Champions League's action, Manchester City defeated Slovan Braslavia 4-0. Ilkay Gundogan scored in the 8th minute to give Man City the lead, followed by Phil Foden in the 15th minute. Erling Haaland subbed off in the 60th minute after securing the win from City in the 58th minute. Now to London, where Arsenal is taking on Paris Saint-Germain. A 36-minute goal from Bukayo Saka is the difference maker as Arsenal defeat Paris Saint-Germain 2-0. Toronto Raptors star Scotty Barnes did not travel with the team to Montreal due to personal reasons. Barnes is expected to miss the start of training camp. The Raptors opened camp on Tuesday morning. The team will take on the Washington Wizards at the Bell Center on Sunday in a preseason matchup. I'm Ethan Van Dopp, and those were your sports headlines to 210.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow. This is 1680 The Crow, and you're listening to our feature presentation.
Reffing in sports can be a very thankless job, especially at the professional level where every mistake made is discussed, while when refs do a good job, it is often not acknowledged. Hockey Canada reported a decline from 33,000 refs to 16,000. With less and less officials on the ice at the youth level, there are less coming up to the higher levels in the future. Today I spoke with Brad Ewing, Brad is a young, up-and-coming ref about to begin his first year officiating pro hockey. What started your reffing journey? What got you into reffing?
When I was a little kid, I used to love doing all the penalty calls when I would watch the games. I was like a little 4-year-old kid doing little flashing calls. So when I was 12 years old and I was able to referee, I signed up for the clinic here in Langley. And we were pretty close friends with the referee-in-chief, Ed Adams, at the time. And he was my mentor as a kid and kind of just got into it naturally, doing minor hockey and little H3 kids and H4 kids.
Cool. And so I was just like, obviously reffing is such a thankless job at times. I'm just wondering what you enjoy about reffing now.
I enjoy the challenge. I'm a very competitive person, whether it be anything in life, obviously hockey, golf. And the competitiveness is with yourself, because the expectation for referees and linesmen it's perfection. Are we ever going to be perfect? No, but the challenge to try and be perfect is what keeps me going.
And what does it take to get to the higher levels? Obviously, you're starting to climb the ranks a bit here. So what has it taken to get to this point, and what will it take to get further along in your career?
It's taken a lot of hard work and a lot of patience. At times, I've thought about quitting or just giving up because things haven't really gone the way I wanted it to. But as far as like advice I've heard from different mentors and different higher level referees, they all have their own little things to add, but one message always holds true. It's to just dominate the level you're at. So I've always focused on just doing well in whatever level I am, and then the rest will work itself out. Somebody will see you. You will get noticed. You just got to keep working at it, and it might take an extra couple of years, but you just got to dominate the level you're at.
When you say things haven't gotten the way you wanted at some points, what are some of the experiences you've had that have been so challenging?
Just trying to break into higher levels. Originally, it was just trying to break into the junior level. I tried very hard. I was talking to all these different guys higher up in the program, trying to get my shot, and it felt like nobody was listening. Nobody really cared. Like it didn't feel like it was going right. I felt like I blew my shot or I missed my opportunity. All these guys that I had worked with, some of the guys that I had trained as a referee when they were younger were now surpassing me, and I felt like maybe I just got missed. But I just kept my nose to the grindstone, and eventually the right person saw me and the right person was able to help me.
Okay, awesome. And just like when it comes to having personal biases and stuff, like obviously you grew up a hockey fan, how do you kind of keep those biases out of your job? Like how do you differentiate the two?
Really, when you put the jersey on, everything kind of goes out the window. Like I've had to officiate my own teams that I've coached, and even a team that I played on, I've had to ref my own games. And when you put the jersey on, you're not on that team anymore. The bias has to go out the window. It's about integrity. And as a referee, you're serving the game. So you're not serving the two teams. You're not serving anybody personally on a bias factor. You're serving the game of hockey. And all you want is for it to be fair and safe. So the biases really, for me, they go out the window as soon as I put the jersey on and I step on the ice.
What levels are you reffing this year? Like what's coming up for you?
This year it'll be my second year doing Junior A in the BCHL, and it will be my first year in the American Hockey League. So it'll be my first year of professional hockey.
That's awesome. Yeah, I just wanted to say congrats on that. But so when you get to that level, what like the professional hockey level, what do you have to do day to day? Like what's the travel like? How does all that work?
for my first year starting off here, I mean, the day-to-day for myself, obviously I'm working out quite a bit. I'm at the rink 7 days a week just because I'm involved with multiple hockey teams as a coach and multiple leagues as a ref. But the day-to-day, like, for example, this weekend here, I'm traveling to Vancouver Island. It's basically figure out travel plans, figure out ferries, what time I'm going to leave. Usually you're with somebody. So if it's a road trip or if you're flying, usually you'll be with somebody. So you and 1, 2, or even 3 other guys for a full crew will travel together. We'll get a hotel together. It's kind of, yeah, like we travel together. Everything's paid for, obviously. We have expenses and per diem and all that good stuff.
Okay. And then just like, can you talk about the community that's built between you and your colleagues, like that you're reffing with? Like, what kind of community do you guys have?
Yeah, we're all very close. We have multiple group chats. We all kind of stay up to date on what's going on in the league during any given day. We have a really, really good camaraderie. Something that I've learned very quickly as I've moved up the ranks here is that character is such a big thing for officials. If you don't have great character, there's a high chance you're not really going to be moving up. You need to be able to be a team player. You need to be able to get along with people. And you're going to have to be able to get along with a lot of different people because we all come from all walks of life. So the community is really good. If you're having any support, if you have questions, if it's a rule knowledge question, something about fitness, anything, everybody's really there to help you. We are all, in a way, competing against each other for the limited spots there are in higher leagues, but we are still a team. So the community is huge. After every game, we'll usually go out and grab dinner, try and get our mind either off the game or retrack what happened in the game. So it's a very tight community.
And what would you say to people who are up and coming, wanting to get into reffing? What kind of advice would you give? And do you think that there should be more people getting into reffing in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. I am a trainer of new officials here in Langley, and I really try and get everybody I can into officiating. I honestly think it should be a mandatory thing for anybody who's playing hockey to officiate at least 1 or 2 years. Not only for the perspective you get on the game, players and coaches may not understand how the referee has to see the game and the actual challenges that come with it. I think it can make coaches better coaches. I think it can make players better players. My advice to anybody coming up the ranks is to just, again, dominate the league that you're in and have fun with it. It's the next best thing to playing. You're on the ice. You're involved in the game. Not many people get to do that. A lot of people are fans. You get fully sold out shows. The coaches on the bench, like, you are still on the ice. You're the next best thing. If you have a passion for hockey and you love to be a part of the game, it's something that you can do for a lot longer than a playing career can last. Whether that's at a high level or even just the minor hockey level, it's fun to serve the game and give back.
The reffing combine, could you just share that experience?
Yeah, no problem. So we got I got an invite. You have to apply. You get invited to apply to the Buffalo Combine. There's kind of 2 groups of people that go. There are people like myself that are up-and-coming officials trying to expose ourselves and our skills and showcase what we have to the NHL. And the other half of that would be the player portion, where guys that are playing right now, either in Europe or the American Hockey League or the East Coast League, they come to the Exposure Combine to be exposed to reffing. So some of these guys were putting on the jersey for the very first time. And just, it's a way to get them into high-level hockey and a way to have them continue to be a part of the game when they're later on in their careers. And it's a lot of fun. It's a rigorous weekend of fitness testing, working out, lots of on ice, off ice, everything. It was a really, really cool experience, and I was really happy to be a part of it.
Thank you, Brad, for joining me today and sharing your experiences reffing and advice for future refs. Thank you for listening to For the Record. My name is Jacob Fraser for BCIT's The Crow.
Everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikakane.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretnero.
And I'm Radhika Sikakane. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.